As we all know, Superman will be releasing next week. This isn't just another Superman film, it's a new start for DC. In just a week's time, the DCU will be born, and the world will either witness DC fail again, or they will witness it succeed and fly high, birthing a new era for comic book films. The fate of the DCU is resting on the shoulders of the Man of Steel. But what if there was someone else that could help carry that weight? Someone who's already been keeping DC alive and relevant. Someone known as the Batman. Now that was a pretty dramatic opening, but it does lead me into what I want to discuss. The DCU is about to start, and currently we have next to zero information about the Batman of this new universe. We know a new film has been announced titled The Brave and the Bold, and we know it will be directed by Andy Muschietti. However, that's about it. James Gunn has recently said that he is struggling with what to do with Batman, but there is an easy option, and that is to use Matt Reeves' version of the character. I know this idea has already caused a lot of debate, and I too am very conflicted about it, so I thought to make a video where I give my reasons for and against for this version of Batman joining the DCU. I know there are some people who hate this version of the character, and that is fine. We all have our favourite version of the character. As a child, mine was the one from Batman and Robin, so really I should be forever banned from speaking about the character.
Never leave the cave without it.
I'm going to start with my reasons why he shouldn't join the DCU. And the main reason is, Matt Reeves has already set up a great standalone universe. Both Reeves and Gunn have already stated that The Batman is its own separate universe, known as the Batman Epic Crime Saga. It's an Elseworlds tale. Of course, Gunn could always be lying, because why would he just reveal something that could create a hype cinema moment? But more than likely, he's telling the truth. Currently, Reeves has already given us two fantastic installments in this saga, with the Batman and the Penguin, and I am interested to see where he takes the story next. The Batman was about a young Bruce Wayne consumed by vengeance, who slowly finds some humanity again and learns he must be more than just fear and vengeance. He must be a symbol of hope for the people of Gotham. I thought this was beautifully executed in the Batman, and honestly, those moments where he's leading the trapped survivors through the water make me tear up. I really want to see how this version of the character grows and develops into the Batman we all know over the next few films. However, I believe if they throw him into the DCU, they will try to rush this development to have him fit in with the other heroes and to be a leader of the Justice League. I also don't want to have to watch other films that aren't in this saga to see how this version develops, as I believe Reeves has a clear version for this universe and other writers and directors might ruin it. Kind of like how in the MCU, different writers and directors will have different takes on the character. I mean, look at Thor. He's gone through so many different changes due to different writers and directors. And just when he was at his peak from Infinity War, Love and Thunder happened. This leads into my next point. The tone is completely different. Reeves' universe is much darker and grounded. However, with Superman, Gunn has gone for a much more hopeful film. Now, of course, this is just a difference between the two characters, but Gunn has gone for a much wackier tone that embraces comic book silliness. I mean, can you really see Crypto fitting into the world of the Batman? Or even that giant fire-breathing kaiju that we see in the trailer? It's definitely not impossible, as it works in the comics, but I just can't see it fitting into the universe Reeves has already established. It would take an incredibly skilled writer, and let's be honest, that's just not James Gunn. Yes, he is good at creating heartfelt moments, and the first Guardians, Suicide Squad, and Peacemaker are good, but they aren't exactly masterclasses in writing. Most of his filmography before the Guardians trilogy were kind of just stinkers. Granted, he did write the two live-action Scooby-Doo films, and those films are masterpieces, so I'll let him off there. But Gunn tends to get carried away with his edgy and often silly humour. I mean, there was a poo joke in Guardians 3, which was meant to be the more mature film of the trilogy. This style just wouldn't fit with Reeves' Batman. Imagine seeing Robert Pattinson just quipping every 5 seconds in the Justice League movie. Maybe he even makes a poo joke or two. It just wouldn't work and it would ruin the character. But I do guess this version would be better than Snyder's version, who's just brutally gunning people down. My next reason might seem a bit snobbish, but I believe the Batman has set a very high bar. You may not like the film or that version, but you can't deny the filmmaking behind it is incredible. It's easily one of the best well-made superhero films of the last 10 years, perhaps even the best. It's definitely best in terms of cinematography. That film is expertly shot with so much care and detail being put into every frame. And yes, I am a meat rider for that film, but even Roger Deakins said, The Batman had the best cinematography of 2022. Now, if you compare this to the cinematography seen in the Superman trailer, the difference is night and day. Superman looks cheap in comparison. It is only the trailer, so the film might look better, but the filmmaking in The Batman looks leagues better. Therefore, every other film in the DCU will need this much love and care put into it, otherwise they will be subpar in comparison. Since DC is a major studio, there's a high chance that they will be pumping these films out like Marvel does, so eventually the quality will just dip and not be as good. Hopefully they don't go down that route, but I am skeptical. Gunn has previously stated that the difference between DC and Marvel is that a film won't go into production unless a script is made. So hopefully this means he will let filmmakers take their time with the films, and hopefully he'll actually let them be creative and put their own stamp on it, instead of being like Marvel where every film just feels the same and you can't really see the director's vision. But yeah, the films in the DCU will now have to match the quality of the Batman. Otherwise, people will just see it as a subpar product and they'll just prefer watching the Batman trilogy. Finally, I just think it would be cool for the DCU to have a already established and older Batman. It would make sense to have a Batman that can handle his own in a world full of metahumans. It will also be nice to see a Batman film explore the Bat family, as they have been neglected in live action for a while now. Brave and the Bold is said to feature Damian Wayne, and I'm down to see that. I just really want to see these characters like Nightwing and Red Hood in this universe. I think it will help differentiate this DCU version of the Batman from the others. So those were my reasons against the idea of Reeves' Batman joining the DCU. Let's look at why I think he should. My main reason is I do not want Andy Muschietti directing a Batman film. I think he is a horrible director and he will just make a version of the character that is inferior to Reeves' version, which will just prevent audiences from caring about him as they'll just watch the Batman they prefer. Yes, there might have been some cool Batman moments in The Flash, but he still made him a joke. He also directed The Flash, which was awful, as was It Chapter 2 and Mama. Those three films all had terrible CGI, so I think it's just his style, and I don't want it for the new Batman. James Gunn, please fire him. You must have been on shrooms when you watched The Flash and hired him. Seriously though, this links back to what I said about a high bar. Whatever version of Batman Gunn is cooking for the DCU, it needs to be as good or better than Reeves' version. Otherwise, people just won't care, and it's already going to be confusing for some audience members that there's two different live action Batman films with different actors and different stories. So, why would they watch the worse one? They're just going to watch the one they already know and the one they know it will be good. The Batman was positively received and it made good money at the box office. It also has a strong fan base, so it's a good starting point for the DCU. If Superman flops, it would be good to have the Batman to fall back on, so it makes it less of a risk. I'm not saying Superman will flop, as the marketing has been really good, and there seems to be a lot of buzz for the film. It's even getting me excited, but having the Batman connected to this world is a nice safety blanket. Another point is, Robert Pattinson is 39 years old now, and he will be 41 when the Batman Part 2 releases. So unfortunately, he's no longer a young Batman. In fact, he's older than Christian Bale was in The Dark Knight Rises. Therefore, he could play the older version of the character that Gunn wants. There could be a big time jump between the Batman and its sequel, showing how the Batman has now matured. It does unfortunately mean we will miss out on the development the trilogy promised, but there's only so long Patterson can get away with playing a young Bruce Wayne. Perhaps this reason is why Reeves took so long to write the sequel. He was probably figuring out what to do with his age, and maybe even figure out how to fit him into the DCU. When Reeves posted he had finished the Batman 2 script, he had the caption, "Partners in crime, brackets, fighters." Now, of course, this could be a reference to his scriptwriting partner, Mattson Tomlin, but it could also be a reference to Robin. So maybe Robin is being introduced, which is what Gunn wanted for The Brave and the Bold. I think they could easily replace the idea of Damian Wayne with Dick Grayson and have the star of the Bat family. I do believe Reeves is a skilled enough writer to fit the Batman into the DCU. It would mean, though, that Gunn would have to let him have a say with what goes with the character, just like how Gunn was a producer on Infinity War and Endgame, which gave him some input and control over how the Guardians were handled in those films. So as long as Gunn isn't being a Kevin Feige where he's dictating and controlling the films, and instead Gunn actually lets different directors have inputs on the characters they have introduced into this universe for the crossover films, I think it could work. We've seen that it does work in the comics. In the comics, we can see a grounded Batman story, but then we can also see Batman team up with the Justice League. It just depends on how skilled the writers are and that they keep the characters consistent. I do have faith that Reeves and Gunn could do this. Also, Patterson has already said he is down to be in the DCU, so why not make it happen? My final reason is, it would just be cool as shit. Imagine it's July 11th, you're sitting in your cinema seat, you've just watched Superman, and you've enjoyed it. Then the film ends with Superman saving the day. He looks up and sees on a TV news report that there is crime in Gotham City. Perhaps it's the floods from the end of the first film. We then see a shot of Superman looking intrigued as he grabs his boots ready to fly off. The score begins to increase as we realize it's the score from the Batman. The shot then changes to a shot of Batman on the news. As the film fades to black, the score continues, and perhaps it even merges with the Superman score. It's a pretty fanfic ending, I know, and most likely it's not going to happen, but for me, I'd be hyped as fuck. Just seeing an unexpected cameo from this version of the Batman showing that the universes are linked, that would get me really excited, I can't even lie. Maybe the caption Reeves posted of "partners in crime fighting" was actually teasing the world's finest. So those are my reasons for if the Batman should be part of the DCU. Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't mind if he is or he isn't. I think with enough passion and a skillful team of writers and directors, it could easily work. But if Reeves wants to keep it separate, then fair play, I can't blame him. Either way, I'm going to continue watching the Reeves film, and I will watch The Brave and the Bold. I just hope it's not directed by Andy Muschietti, he can fuck off. So let me know your opinions on whether he should join the DCU or stay separate. And let me know which version of Batman is your favourite. Mine is now the one from the animated series and the Arkham games. I do also really like Patterson's version, but I have repented for my ways of being a George Clooney Batman and Robin fan. Anyway, as usual, thanks for watching.